Welcome to Module 3. This module is all about mindful awareness and how to find refuge in the present moment. And what that means is if you are feeling stressed or you are struggling with grief or loss, being able to, I mentioned in the other modules about your body, bringing your attention back to your body, feeling like you're coming home to yourself. And that's what finding refuge in the present moment is. Using your body as a safe harbour when you are feeling stressed, being able to bring your attention into your body and calm down the nervous system. So the theme for this module is all about conscious relaxation, how you can use that to care for your stressed or your grieving body, and recognising the body patterns of stress and grief, and how we can learn to soften to that tension instead of feeling defeated by the idea that fear and anger are our only alternatives, that this is where we talked about responding, this is where we've got choice. So the body is a very powerful messenger, and there is a saying that what goes on in the mind shows up in the body, and that is certainly true. There is also a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and this is a very, very interesting book that talks a lot about how grief and trauma and stress is stored in the body and comes out in health conditions. Well worth a read. So we're all familiar with the sensations of hunger, and those sensations, that's a message letting us know that we need to eat. We're familiar with the sensations of feeling tired, and that tells us that we need to sleep. We're familiar with the sensations of fear, and fear tells us we should either run away or stay and fight, or engage with somebody if we're feeling threatened in some way. And we receive those messages when we need to take some action. And we can also reverse this process, and we can also send our body a message. So we can receive messages from our bodies and we can send them. So we can tell our internal system to quieten our nervous body, calm our racing mind, and even restore damaged cells. And in this session, you will learn how to take a step back from your thoughts, focus on your body, and take control of your stress levels. And what that will do is that will help you to access the physical and emotional resources that you need to stay healthy while mindfully attending to your stress or your grief or your loss. So understanding conscious relaxation. Conscious relaxation is quite simple. It involves practicing specific techniques that lets your body relax with things just as they are, so not trying to change anything. So instead of zoning out on the sofa or having a drink at the bar, conscious relaxation is done with an attitude of mindfulness. So while the focus is on allowing your body to relax and soften and open, there will be times then when your inner wisdom appears. Now, many people find the 3-part breath technique from the first week really, really helpful in helping you to slow down and make time to observe and to process your grief, your stress, anxiety. And it puts you in touch with your thoughts and your feelings, helps you to look inside yourself and beyond yourself. And sometimes, a thought will pop into your head. It's like you have like an inner voice, and you may notice that sort of emerging. Mindful stretching or yoga, which is mindful movement, is also helpful for a lot of people, and that can help to calm down the nervous system as well. And that's conscious relaxation, and it can teach you a lot about stretching physically, but also stretching emotionally as well. And as you begin to explore the sensations in your body, you might notice that you've got a pain in your right knee or tension in your neck and shoulders, and that might sort of remind you that actually you need to go back to swimming to release tension, if that's something that that you've been doing. And this has definitely been, if for me noticing that my body is feeling more tension, more pain. Often I think to myself then, okay, have I been moving as much? Is there something I need to give my bodies? And that often these are very helpful sort of like messages to us that can help us to get back to movements that we need to, back to things that we need to be doing to nourish ourselves. Sometimes as well, if you are someone that sits at a desk all day, just noticing that you've got tension or discomfort somewhere can be a bit of a message in that you need to take breaks away and to move a little more. So noticing discomfort and tension in the body, there's a reason for it. There's a reason why those messages are showing up. So working at the edge. Physically, the edge is the place in a stretch or a yoga posture that isn't too much or isn't too little. You're not bored, but you're not causing yourself any harm either. Now, yoga isn't about pushing yourself past your limit. It's more about understanding where your limit is. And when you know where your limit is, you can make a mindful decision to either move towards that limit or the edge or away from it until you find the point that is just right. A place where you can observe the sensation with curiosity and open awareness. And a good test to see if you're at your edge is to check your breath. If you're not breathing, if you're holding your breath, then you need to back away from the edge until the breath is steady. And the emotional edge is very, very similar. It's a place where you can observe your experience with a sense of calm abiding and openness. It's only by accepting what is happening, no matter what it is, then you can choose where to go from there, how to be with it. Sometimes the edge can be used in a stretch to help people to explore how your physical experience of your body can be a metaphor for what is happening in your life. And once you have the edge in your field of awareness, you can observe the experience mindfully without getting hooked into it or without pushing it away. And that parallels the middle path that we talked about in previous sessions that was taught by the Buddha in the Fourth Noble Truth. And the edge can be applied to anything. Think of the last time you overate, you drank too much, or you yelled at somebody. We go over the edge. And there is a saying, isn't there, that I've gone off the edge there. And that saying is often when we react rather than respond, or we push ourselves too far. And our edges can move as well. So what might seem edgy in one moment might seem completely comfortable days or months or even years later. And when we learn to hold an edge with compassion, we can relax into it and experience our edge with more ease then. And in the mindfulness course, you'll hear it being referred to as your hard and your soft edges. So your soft edge is something that is completely comfortable, you can sit with, doesn't cause you any discomfort at all, whereas your hard edge is something that causes you extreme discomfort and which may be physical or emotional pain. And it is about being aware of what those are and working within those. So easing the pain of stress or of loss isn't like treating the symptoms of a common cold, which the remedy for that is eating soup and sleeping until it passes. We can't easily prescribe those things, can we, for stress and loss. But you can take steps to heal your body and make your body feel better, while at the same time creating the emotional space to witness your stress or your loss, whatever it is you're dealing with. So we're going to explore how stress and loss shows up in the body. So for some, it can feel like an out-of-the-body experience, but for other people, localized areas can hold unpleasant sensations, while other areas might feel absent or quite numb. But some physical reactions might include a hollowness in the stomach, tightening of the throat, the chest or the stomach, increased aches and pains, sleeplessness or sleepiness, oversensitivity to noise, shortness of breath and frequent sighing, lack of energy, muscle weakness, a dry mouth, lack of coordination. They're all bodily symptoms of grief and stress, as well as these on the diagram. Mood swings, depression, headaches, night sweats, not being able to sleep, weight gain, bone loss, bone density loss, all symptoms of grief and stress. We can experience decreased motivation, a lack of focus, energy might feel low, muscle loss, And in men, they can experience mild to moderate erectile dysfunction. Women can experience an interruption of periods. So there's lots and lots of reactions to stress. And it's something like 70% of GP appointments are actually for bodily symptoms to stress or grief and loss, which is quite mind-blowing actually. And as I said earlier, the book The Body Keeps the Score is a fascinating book to read and give you a real insight on how stress and grief and trauma shows up in the body and how it can lead to lots of chronic health conditions, things like fibromyalgia, ME, chronic fatigue, chronic pain. So it is really well worth a read, especially if you are experiencing some of these symptoms. So the relaxation response then, let's have a little look at this. So the relaxation response, we can take intentional actions to trigger the relaxation response. And for most of us, the body interprets grief or stress as an intense form, and it switches on the fight, flight and freeze response that you may have read about in the Rock Through Life Survival Guide. And if you want to read more about it, then you can go there and read some more about it. But in order for us to survive, or for any species to survive, it has to have a mechanism that allows it to respond to threats by engaging in battle, running away, or attempting to freeze and blend in with the surroundings. Now that response raises our blood pressure, tenses the major muscle groups, and raises the productions of stress hormones alongside suppressing the immune system. So in times of trouble, it's a useful tool for survival, but when it happens over and over again, it's a bit like never changing the oil in your car. It'll cause the system to wear out and break down. And in people, that can manifest itself as something as simple as a cold or a more severe stress-related illness, like something like high blood pressure. And that stress reaction doesn't only make us feel bad physically, but it also makes it harder for us to cope with the stress or the loss or the life changes that are happening. And unfortunately, most people are not taught how to relax. And even though there's more than enough research to support the health benefits of mind-body medicine, most of us are still not taught it as a matter of form, although it is being taught more in schools now. But most of us are not taught these things until it's too late, really, by the time we're coming to like a mindfulness course, or for many of us, it's too late and we're already in these chronic stress sort of situations. And there's lots of research around, I've had people on an 8-week mindfulness course who were on high blood pressure tablets and went back to their GP after the 8 weeks and blood pressure massively came down, and the only thing that they changed was that they were meditating. So there is lots of research around this. So the relaxation response can be applied to meditation, yoga, and relaxation techniques such as progressive muscle relaxation, which we'll learn about a bit later on. And it's even been proven to work during things like knitting or running and gardening. All you have to do is focus, repeat a word, a phrase, or an action, and relax with whatever happens. And your body will be able to stop the stress reaction. And over time, it'll improve your immune system beyond your pre-stress state. And in addition to feeling less physical tension, you will find that your emotional state starts to slow down and settle down as well. But it's important to note that mindfulness practices are not always relaxing. So there is a fine line between mindfulness and relaxation. And sometimes what might happen is being in the present moment forces us to face up to unpleasant realities. But bringing the dark into the light is a step on the path towards healing our pain. But what can happen is, if this happens to some people, what they may do is pull back because it's uncomfortable and think that mindfulness is causing me to feel worse, not better. But we need to bring those things into the light, and that's the first step to healing our pain. And I always liken it a bit to if something goes off in your fridge and you open your fridge door and the smell is overwhelming and you don't know what's causing it, you have to take everything out, clean it up, and then put it back in to get rid of the smell. And it's a bit like that with our emotions and our pain, that when we have to notice that something is uncomfortable or unpleasant, for us to be able to do something with it, clean it up and then put it back in. So while mindfulness doesn't equal relaxation, and you don't always get a relaxed state, it invites relaxation. It creates the conditions for relaxation. And if you are agitated during your practice, remember that you don't need to struggle against agitation. Instead, if you can embrace that with curiosity and an awareness of your breath, and explore the edge and walk along the middle path of your experience, bring your attention back to your breathing, you will find that that agitation will settle. So this is a really useful exercise that you can do to help you to get to know your body. So this exercise can help you to record the feeling tones of your body so that you can get to know it a little better and take action that will help you to return to that state of balance that we've been talking about. So this exercise is best done after a body scan, and there is a body scan recording that you can go to. But before you practice any other relaxation techniques, so that you can understand your body's pattern of sensations. So you will find a downloadable image of the body. Okay, and then I'm going to invite you to shade in an area of your body with a coloured pencil or crayon that corresponds to the feeling tone of that part. So feeling tones are either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. So choose 3 different coloured pencils or crayons to represent those, and then shade in your body where you feel pleasant sensations, where you feel unpleasant, and where it's neutral. And then over the coming week, it's an invitation to do something to be kind to or nurture the parts that you felt were unpleasant. Celebrate the parts that were pleasant and maybe be curious about the parts that were neutral. So it's a bit of an exercise to start getting to know your body. And you may be really surprised. It's almost like telling your body's story, really, isn't it? And then another thing you can do is some mindful journaling. So imagining that your body has got a voice and can tell you its history. Asking yourself, what would you want to say? Begin your journal entry with, I am your body and this is my story. And it all began when. And just allow the pen to flow. Okay, this is the end of the Learning to Meditate course and busting the myths of meditation. So hopefully by now, after these 3 sessions, and there are some practices in between, that you've got a good understanding of what mindfulness is, what meditation is, and you are ready to hit the ground running and dive into the 8-week course.